you're kind of an expert on education, so let's kick off with that. 5 different education secretaries in less than 4 months. I mean, you couldn't make it up. Schools telling us that they're absolutely on their knees in terms of funding, but we know that spending cuts are coming. They're on the imminent horizon. If you were the new education secretary, what would your top priority be this morning?
Well, the top priority, I think, is to think about the long term. We've got to put the fire out. There's a crisis. But what we've lacked, Richard, you just said it, we've had 5 education secretaries this year. But it's not just because of this present political crisis. In the last 10 years, do you know how many there have been?
Go on.
10.
Oof.
We've had 10 education secretaries in 10 years. So there's no continuity. Right. There's no long-term plan. There's no strategy. So I know, you know, I'm part of Oasis, but I know I can speak for absolutely every single educationist in the country when I say what we want is continuity. I think the first thing we want to say to Gillian is it worth getting to know you? Will you be there long enough for us to get to know you? And then the second thing is, will you get to know us and work with us? We're sick to death of people being there for a few weeks or a few months with some great kind of plan that isn't a plan.
But will she be allowed to help you? Because we know at the Cabinet meeting today, we can assume this, I think, the Prime Minister is going to look around the table at his new ministers and say, you've all got to make cuts. I want you to get out of this room, get your pen and pad out, go to your civil servants and come back with the cuts you're going to make. So there's going to be no more money for education.
So the long-term thing is we need a long-term strategy, and I'd like to talk about the priorities for that, not just putting out the fire. But the thing for today, to this new Education Secretary, is get ahead of Monday. Do something today, get in there, because we're living with austerity. We know that. But the reality is that a country that does not invest in its children better start saving up for its benefit system, its NHS system, its justice system. If we don't invest in children, there's no long-term sustainable growth. It just cannot happen.
We know that.
3 out of 10 kids leave school at the moment, Kate, with nothing. We have to reform the education system, which is why we've got to do the long-term strategy bit as well.
And the problem with that is that kind of reform is complicated, but having changes imposed on teachers and head teachers that then the person isn't there to see it through is very challenging. And, of course, schools, as we know, are picking up the pieces of other elements, aren't they?
Yes.
You know, looking at the sort of frightening cost of basic foods. I think that a simple meal of pasta, tomato sauce came out yesterday, that it's nearly 16% more expensive than it was this time last year. So it's all of that goes with it, isn't it? So how can a new Secretary of State that really, in their mind, is going to be running the tape recording, got to make cuts, how can you advise her of what to do?
I think that's a great question, Kate. The first thing, I think, is what the teaching profession needs to know is that someone stands with us, gets in the ring with us, in the fight, the austerity fight with us, instead of standing outside it and flinging in advice and putting teachers down. I think the teacher... You know, there's a huge churn in the teaching profession at the moment. 40% of teachers leave in under 5 years. Why? Because they don't feel supported. Yeah, we know it's tough. We know when, you know, there's no magic money tree, but teachers... School staff, all school staff, need support. As you said, Kate, schools, we've learned, are an anchor institution in every community. It's not just maths and English and history and geography. It's emotional and social and mental health support. And it's working with parents as well.
All right.
All of that, so work with us.